Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are brand new here, welcome. I'm so glad you found me. I'm Bonnie, Old Soul Mermaid, and today's video we're going to be doing a side-by-side of the two editions of the Lonely Dreamer Tarot by Melissa Wotherspoon. Now, I just got this in the mail yesterday, and it's still in the factory wrap. So I am going to undo all this and we're going to compare the two. So I'll be right back. Now we have the two lovely editions, the first and the second edition next to each other side by side. So as you can tell, the box has changed. And if you saw my video that was posted recently, about videos that are now in pre-order status. That is the case with the second edition of the Lonely Dreamer Tarot. I will leave a link. Now, you will need to act on it fast. When the first edition came out initially after the Kickstarter, she, I believe, only had a very few copies. There were, I think she only printed 500 copies in total of this first edition. I think there's 1,000 of this copy. I don't know, but there's a few more. She printed a few more of the second edition. So there's probably not very many left. So if you want it, I'll leave a link and you can jump on it. So as you can tell, we're going to just take a look at all parts of the box. So we've got a similar side heading in the spine. The back has pretty much the same description of the deck and autobiography of the artist, Odilon Redon. A little bit different. There's a picture in the first edition of the artist, and then there's Melissa Wotherspoon's initial on the second. So at the clamshell opening part of the box, there is a quote, and on the second edition there is not. There's the difference in the top of the box. And she has in the first edition her Etsy shop. These are both 2020 editions. She's got the list of all her other offerings. And then on the bottom they both have SKUs. All right, so let's take the decks out. Now, this is the inside of the box. There's a quote: "While I recognize the necessity for a basis of observed reality, true art lies in a reality that is felt." And that's very applicable to what I get from working with this deck. There's the inside. On the inside, there's a quote: "I await joyous surprises while working, an awakening of the materials that I work with and my spirit develops." Let me see the beauty of the box. Now let's take a look at the new edition. There's no quote on the inside, just lovely art. And there's, on the inside, there's the same quote. So both decks have the beautiful clamshell box with the ribbon inside. So we're going to put the boxes off to the side right now. So on my left right here, this is the first edition, and this is the second edition. So it looks like the cover has changed. So we're going to put the books off to the side, just take a quick look at them afterwards, because I know you really want to see the cards. Plastic sleeve. So let's take a look at the backs. We're going to get in a little bit closer. So we have a sort of prayer rug or meditation rug in the on the backs of the first edition, and then we just have this lovely floral art which matches I think color-wise it matches kind of the first edition box, you know, with the colors used, and this is the second. But it's a beautiful floral pattern, which I think, I love both of them, but I'm gravitating towards this. And you can see right off the bat that there's been a change. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do a silent walkthrough with some nice chill music. I'll pick something really pretty, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to look at all the cards that have been changed and kind of discuss a little bit what my preferences are, and we'll go from there. So I'll be back with you in just a sec. hoped you enjoyed that musical flip through of the 2 editions. So right off the bat, let's go into the extra cards that came with both editions. Again, this is the 1st edition. This is the 2nd edition. And you notice this card was also the cover of the guidebook in the 1st edition. This card is now the full card in the 2nd edition. But in the 1st edition, it's an extra card called the Seeker. And we have Intuition, Guardian Spirit here, and we have Shadow here. L'Ombre, this is a shadow card, I think, for this deck. And you see that she included the back, the prayer rug from the 1st edition. And I think this works really well because where do you set your intentions? Where do you start? Through prayer, meditation, and ritual. So I'm glad they kept that. This is an untitled extra card, but this one is Ancestors, and I'm very glad they added she added an ancestor card. I did forget, in the 1st edition, you got 2 choices for the 8 of Wands, and she did that knowing that people have an aversion to spiders. So we have the Dreamer here, and we have Grounding. And then we have Spirit. This is a stunning card. So those are the extra cards. I think they're all wonderful and easy to use. You can shuffle what cards you like, which cards you need to use, maybe depending on your reading, what you need. Shuffle in the ancestor card if you're doing that type of a reading. Maybe the prayer intention card if you're trying to manifest something. If you're using shadow work, maybe this card into the 1st edition deck. So a lot of great options with these extra cards. So we're going to put those off to the side. Next, we're going to take a look at the cards that were changed and just go over. And I'm going to see if I have a preference. It's going to be really hard, you guys. Really, really hard. You know, both can, there's parallels to a traditional Fool. I kind of like this with this being self and maybe somebody, this is a new version or an old version of self that's going to be cast off, and this person is going to be starting a new journey. So I may like this as the Fool. I love both of them. I love both of them. As far as the Magician, you see this one's a lot brighter. This one's got a lot more maybe kind of necromancy going on, or something a little more sinister and darker going on. But there's action. There's action depicted here, where this one is very subdued. I do love the skill that Melissa Wotherspoon has with her collaging effects and digital collage. Because look how seamlessly she put in that the infinity symbol in there. So I don't know. I'm kind of edging towards this one, but I love them both. Okay, and then the Wheel of Fortune. I'm thinking this one depicts more of a traditional Wheel of Fortune. I love them both, but I think this one will have the edge. Though, don't you love, and I hope my phone is picking it up, the texture. Oh my gosh, the texture in this card is amazing. So the Justice card. I'm edging towards the first edition because there's the scales and the swords depicted, the sword depicted here. And again, look how seamlessly, you know, she collaged all that in. And this, though this is really another way of looking at it, Lady Justice holding her counsel until she has all the facts. Maybe be careful of jumping to judgment too quickly. Hold your tongue until you have all the facts. I think it's a wonderful way to read it too. So I think they're both wonderful. Death. I think I'm going to go with the little more traditional card of death, because you do have the, you know, death here, but you've got all, you know, he's striking at something, he's caused something to die, but there's always something growing underneath it. But I'm trying to wrap my head around this. There's kind of a bowed figure kneeling or hunched over here. I'm not familiar with this painting, so I'll have to look in the guidebook if it says anything, what it says about it. So I'm going to put that off to the side, and when we look at the guidebook, we use that. Different energy for competition. Now, to me, they both seem a very, very aggressive competition. I like the fact that this has, it can either, there's spectators on this side. They could be spirits, they could be your ancestors, they can be, you know, the population, kind of watching to see how you come out of this competition or fight. So I don't know, I think I'm leaning towards this one, the first edition. This one is very beautiful too. And the Two of Cups has been changed. Both beautiful, but I think I'm edging towards the Two of Cups in the first edition. I don't know, there's a little bit of intimacy that's born here with the touch of a hand. I think I prefer that one, but this again is very, very beautiful. The Eight of Swords has been changed. Again, I think I'm going to go with the first edition. This is how I feel. I constantly feel like I'm in a perpetual state of the Eight of Swords. And this is how I see it in a lot of the times. Not always. Sometimes, you know, this has more of an indication of being trapped. This one leaves more for the interpretation of, you know, having an opening that you can get out of. So it, again, I think it's going to depend on mood, the reading itself. They're both valuable. Both of these Ace of Pentacles are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But for some reason, so hard to choose, but I like the original. I do like the original. I like both of them, but I've always been in love with this card. Seven of Pentacles. Now, what's different is you've got the two figures in the first edition depicted in the garden, waiting. whereas you have one figure here. Just from an aesthetic view, I like the first edition. The Eight of Pentacles. Now, I think as far as maybe honing a craft or learning something, this card depicts that. This card is just visually stunning and beautiful and full of color and life. You do see kind of a shadow of a figure, like maybe a teacher, overlooking this figure here, a spirit. So I'll go with this one as far as the way I read the Eight of Pentacles, but this one is from an aesthetic and from a beauty point of view, I'd go with this one. The Nine of Pentacles, definitely going with Lady Abundance here. Yeah, this one here. And as far as the rest of the deck, I pulled out a couple of cards here. You saw a difference in color saturation. It seems like for the most part in the second edition, they've lightened up the cards a bit. And like, there's a stark difference between the cups. You've seen, she brought out the cups so that they're much more visible here in the second edition and lightened the background a bit. So, of course, you know it's the Five of Cups because it says so, but I like that the cups have been brought out more and are not so shadowy, so you can easily read it, especially if you have problematic eyesight. I thought that was a good change. And this is just for, if you can see, you know, nothing else has been changed except it's been lightened up in the second edition, not so dark, which for the most part I like. For the most part I like in the deck. All right, so I'm going to put, so let me count all together. There's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 downright changes in the deck. So you get 11 new cards in the new deck, and then the color, you know, change, lightening up in the second edition. You also get a whole new set of extra cards. So we're going to take a quick look at the guidebook, just really quick. Here they are. So second edition, it does say second edition. So it looks like you get the same layout. You get the same layout. There was no pictures in this little white book. And also there are no spreads. It's just very basic. Very basic information. And I don't, from the looks of it, look and see if the introduction has changed. The introduction has changed. So that's interesting. That's something to be aware of. A little bit about the artist. The font has been changed in the heading, but you still get no picture. You get keywords reversed. Oh, let's see. You get keywords and reversed meaning, yes, in the original. And there are no spreads. So I pulled out the death card from the second edition. I'm going to see. Let's see. Death. Okay. Depicted here is the death of the Buddha in the moment. Yes, he was very into his Buddhism. Okay. Depicted here is the death of the Buddha in the moment of crossing over as the spirit leaves behind the physical body. Death is a card of transition and transformation, a birth and rebirth. Very rarely does this card refer to literal death, but it can also happen. It is ruled by Scorpio, known for determination and bravery. Keywords: transition, change, renewal, discovery, stepping into one's power. Reversed is resistance to change, stuck, reluctant to make waves. Okay, so I'm glad now that I got a little bit of a background, whereas the death, and I should have kept the card out, but okay, so there's a lot more to death, writing about death. In the original, death is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, rides on its ashen horse, wielding a huge sword. This is the point at which the reign of man fails and the reign of beasts begins, according to Cambridge Revelation scholar Edward Bishop Elliot. In this composite image, a riot of flowers has been added at the point of the sword. Is the sword bringing about the demise of these flowers, or are the flowers blooming as a result of the sword's touch? The answer is both. Death is a card of transition and transformation, and then this is what was, the rest of it is what was in the other book. You get more keywords in the other. Here it's just transition, change, and reversed you get resistance to change and stuck. So the books have, you know, according to the art and the changes in the cards, it's slight differences. The introduction is different, so that'll be interesting to read those. So, oh, I didn't mention that both have the same, it's the exact same cardstock. This is been rounded, the corners have been rounded by a very small, the same small corner rounder, exact same size, exact same beautiful linen cardstock. So that has been my flip through, walk through, and side-by-side comparison of the Lonely Dreamer Tarot versions 1 and 2. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about the changes? What box design do you prefer? Do you like the changes in the card? Which deck do you think overall do you prefer, with taking in the box, the colors, the extra cards? Which deck do you think you resonate with? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. And if you haven't already, if you found any value to this video, please consider hitting a like, a subscribe, commenting below. That would really help this small channel grow. And with that, I will leave you to have a wonderful day, and I will see you real soon. Bye for now.